Good evening and thank you for joining us for KREM 2 News at 5 tonight. I'm Mark Hanrahan. Whitney is off this evening. We start with the forecast tonight because it may be spring, but there's a winter weather advisory for our area starting at 6 tonight and remaining in place until 8 tomorrow morning. Check out this video from Pullman earlier today. Well, we don't have that video, so instead, oh, there it is. There's a video from Pullman earlier today where it was snowing pretty hard down there on the Palouse. Let's get straight to meteorologist Michelle Boss. Michelle, how much snow are we expecting tonight and into tomorrow morning?
So that's a tricky question because somebody's going to get some substantial snow, but pinpointing it's pretty difficult. And I'll show you why on radar in just a moment. But that winter weather advisory does cover kind of a broad area for the possibility of some burst of localized heavy snow, and that does include the Spokane and Coeur d'Alene area. And again, the Palouse, which has already seen more than their fair share of snow this spring. We're looking at amounts anywhere from just less than an inch to up to 4 inches, possibly some heavier amounts locally. All right, satellite and radar shows quite a bit of active weather with snow across eastern Washington and North Idaho. But look at how narrow this band of snow is right now, reaching from about Harrington to just north of Steptoe, extending northward to Plummer. This band is going to be pretty narrow, and those areas of brighter white are indicating areas, some localized moderate to heavy snow coming down. But as you can see, it doesn't cover a very large area, so you might get a heavy burst of snow in one place and 10 miles away, hardly anything on the ground. So really kind of hard to pinpoint exactly where some of the heavier snow will fall, but certainly Spokane and Coeur d'Alene area is a possibility, and temperatures are certainly chilly enough. 37 degrees right now in Spokane, 40 in Coeur d'Alene. Of course, it's only going to get colder this evening and overnight. Here's a look at the forecast over the next 12 hours. We do expect to see snowfall this evening and overnight as temperatures fall again into the 20s, making for another chilly day tomorrow. We could see some isolated rain and snow showers through the day on Friday. Another chance of rain and snow on Saturday. Chilly Easter morning. Temperatures starting out in the upper 20s. But I promise you there's some light at the end of the tunnel. We may even see a 60-degree day in that extended forecast.
We became aware of it on social media first, and then we received some letters or emails from local businesses letting us know that RVs had moved into the area.
The city of Spokane is responding today to the growing homeless encampment near I-90 in Freya. A group of new RVs showed up to the camp over the past week. Nicole Hernandez is there explaining where the RVs came from.
You can see RV after RV right here behind me in between the dozens of tents here at Camp Hope. Take a look at this Facebook post from Julie Garcia, director of Jules Helping Hands. She's thanking the community for giving the people at Camp Hope a place to get out of the elements for cheap. This post is getting a lot of attention now. Local business owners in the area are frustrated with the growing camp, including the owner of Liberty Tires.
I'm not against the camp as much as it's just grown. Like every week there's more and more people. They're stuffing way too many people on one area. And that's my whole issue with that camp.
Here's a look at Divine's Towing, helping get the RVs into the homeless encampment. The city of Spokane is under the impression these RVs are not in running condition. As the city works out a solution for the people living at Camp Hope, these RVs are now another factor. It costs the city $1,000 to tow any RV, but they can't do anything at the camp without WSDOT approval because they're on WSDOT land.
What to do with those long-term becomes a consideration. There's a personal property consideration as well. Those are all pieces of information that we're trying to learn as we develop a way to work together with people on the site there, people who need services.
Brian Coddington says the city understands the frustration of both the neighbors and businesses in the area and the people at Camp Hope, but he says the solutions take time. Mayor Woodward is planning on presenting a new shelter space plan at Monday's city council meeting. So I called Divine's Towing, who you saw helping get these RVs into the camp. We are setting up a time to talk with them as soon as possible. In Spokane, Nicole Hernandez, KREM 2 News.
KREM 2 reached out to WSDOT. They released a statement which says, in part, we are aware that several RVs have been illegally placed on and around WSDOT property. This is an illegal action, and we are looking at ways to have them removed with cooperation from our local law enforcement partners. The statement goes on to add that with the opening of a potential shelter, we are beginning to explore options to have the encampment disbanded, removed, and the property cleaned up. Former Spokane County Sheriff's Deputy Craig Chamberlain has withdrawn his candidacy for the Spokane County Sheriff today. Chamberlain announced his decision on Facebook. He's been in the spotlight since he was fired back in mid-February after an investigation into his conduct. Chamberlain claimed the firing was politically motivated and related to his plan to run for sheriff. You can read his entire announcement on our website. Just head to krem.com. A fire at an apartment complex on Spokane's Lower South Hill caused significant damage this morning. The Red Cross is now assisting the 7 people displaced by that fire. When firefighters arrived on scene, they found flames on the 2nd floor of the building and then promptly evacuated all 7 units. Firefighters say no one was hurt. The cause of that fire is still under investigation.
There's so many people in our district who have suffered because of this busing shortage.
Spokane School Board members want to make sure every student gets to class on time, even if that means making some transportation changes. If you live in Spokane and put your child on the bus each morning, chances are their route will look a bit different next year, and they may have to walk even farther to their bus stop. Amid a shortage of school bus drivers, the Spokane Public School Board is looking at new transportation options. Currently, the district contracts with Durham School Services for busing. Durham picks up more than 12,000 students each day. Right now, they only have half the drivers they need, they said, and can only operate on half the routes. Spokane Public Schools wants to address this problem now before it becomes an issue next fall. The board approved 4 possible solutions from the SPS transportation team. The first recommendation is reducing the number of bus stops and creating a centralized hub where more students can be picked up at once. The second recommendation increases the walk zone radius for middle and high school students. The third solution involves partnering with the Spokane Transit Authority to give high schoolers bus passes, but student safety and ridership rules would need to be established. Finally, the fourth solution explores alternative transportation services. All of these are short-term solutions. The district's contract with Durham, by the way, ends next school year, and the district is considering parting ways with Durham and creating their own service with surrounding districts in the county. Well, several people from the community are coming together to support victims of the drive-by shooting that happened last weekend in downtown Spokane. KREM 2's Malia Kamal has more now on how you can help.
Nate Byers is one of the victims of this weekend's drive-by shooting in downtown Spokane. Now, Nate used to work here at Westside Pizza. His story has touched so many in the community, including his friends here, that they set up a donation jar in his name. Nate Byer is currently fighting for his life. Around 1:30 Saturday morning, Nate was one of 3 people shot outside of Lucky's Bar. According to this GoFundMe page set up by Nate's family, the bullet stopped just outside of his brainstem. The page also states that the best case scenario, Nate will have cognitive function, but will have left side paralysis. The journey will be long and expensive, so the goal is to raise $100,000 to help minimize the financial burden of medical costs. Around the end of last year, Nate left his job at Westside Pizza, but he left a lasting impression. Madison Hecker was Nate's coworker and best friend. She says the 31-year-old always knew how to make her laugh, but he also had a protective side. The GoFundMe page reports that when Nate heard the initial shots, he yelled for everyone to get down. Hecker says that's just Nate's nature.
He's been a great friend, one that is there for you in your time of need, will talk to you about anything and everything, always trying to help you solve your problems. Always cracking jokes. As soon as he walked in the door, you knew it was going to be a good time to make pizzas.
This tragedy compelled those in the hospitality industry to come together. Fundraising efforts are taking place across the board. This Sunday, a fundraiser will be held at Prohibition Gastropub for one of the other victims, Caitlin Corligliano. Katie also works as a server at Ruins. Her GoFundMe page has exceeded the goal listed. All the donations collected from this jar will be donated to Nate's GoFundMe page. In Post Falls, Malia Kamal, KREM 2 News.
Meantime, 29-year-old Jonathan Love was arrested in connection with that drive-by shooting outside of Lucky's Bar. On Monday, he entered a not guilty plea to several charges, and a judge sent his bond at $1 million.